teachers, one of the resources that you have available for your students is Brainpop. You will have to create your own Brainpop course to start assigning activities for your students, but this is a very dynamic resource that has many activities that students can do that really empowers them on their learning journey. So let's take a look. To log in the upper right hand corner, you will select I'm a grown-up and then sign in with Google. You will want to create courses for your students. So now that I'm logged in with my Google account, on the top of the screen I'll see a gray stripe and I can click on Dashboard. The dashboard is where you will do most of your work in Brainpop to actually create assignments for your students. In order to create assignments for your students, though, you do need to create a class. So here you can see I do have one class listed. It is my 24-25 Boyd class. If I need to create a class, what I do is I click on the plus sign and you can create your class name. So if I'm a middle school teacher, maybe I do multiple periods throughout the day, I can create a course for each class period. That way my students are separated and I can assign them different work. If I'm an elementary school teacher, you really only have to create one course. Keep in mind when you are creating courses, this is the class code that your students will need to use to add themselves to your class. So write this down, put it on your whiteboard. What I like to do is screenshot this and put this on my Schoology page. That way my students throughout the year know the code and they know how to join if I have a new student come throughout the year. What's also helpful is if you haven't taken a screenshot before, make sure you press Shift-Command-4 and then just click and drag for the code part. And now you have that forever. But if you ever forget, it is here in your dashboard. You can click on it and it'll come right back up. So you do have that code if you did forget to write that down. Now that I have classes, I can start looking at assignments. Keep in mind, you can't actually create an assignment until you have any students in your course. So sometimes what I do is for bell work, I put that code up and I make sure all my students join my course because otherwise I can look at assignments, but I can't actually create assignments. So if I click on create right now, it will let me search for things. So if I type something like I'm studying the Civil War, there are math, science, social studies, and English language arts topics in Brainpop, as well as some other ones connected to content area and specialty areas. So I can click on that, and this would be the package that comes with the Civil War. I can decide how much I want to assign to my students. I love the movie, but I also love having the movie be assigned with pause points because that way it creates opportunities for students to pause and engage and answer some questions, not just sit there and watch the movie. I also, as a teacher, I always had my students do something during the movie, whether that was take notes on a whiteboard or take notes in some sort of journal. That was something that I really tried to focus on so that students weren't just aimlessly watching. The vocabulary builders are great because they use vocabulary from the movie, and you can differentiate if you want a higher level of vocabulary or a lower level of vocabulary. And then the quiz is auto-graded. So what's really great about this is you can choose the graded mode and you will actually get a results of how the students did on their quiz, and you can take that for a grade. They also have reading passages with lexile levels that are connected to the standard and to the objective. So again, this would be connected to the Civil War, and you can choose the lexile level. You can also create multiple assignments for different levels if that's something that you would like to do as well. So if this is kind of the package that I want to assign, I can decide how much I want to use. I can use more or less. I don't have to include all of these pieces, but this would be kind of like a unit that my students would work through, and I can click on next to decide which students it would go to. So like I mentioned, this one is empty. There's a couple empty ones in here. These are all my classes that I've had over the years. I could archive previous ones. It won't let me assign it to an empty class, so that's why I always mention make sure that you have students in your course. And then once you do have your students, this is where you can select if you want it to go to specific students, and so that's where you can differentiate and create different assignments for different students based on some of those lexile levels or some of those grade level activities. So I'm just going to click on this one so you can see what the process would look like. I can give a title. So maybe I'm calling this my Civil War unit. I could give additional instructions, for example, if they want to work with a partner or work with a table group. Maybe it's homework. Maybe they need to also be taking notes in their journals, like I mentioned. So I can add any instructions there and give a due date. And then I can also reorder these items. So maybe I want the vocab builder to be like an anticipatory set, and I want the quiz to be at the end for closure, and I want the movie and the leveled reading to be in the middle. So you can always click and drag, and then I can go back to edit any of these activities at any time, and then I can click assign. Once it is assigned, I can view it as a student to see what that would look like for my students, or I could go back to my dashboard and assign other activities for my other class periods or for different subjects. So definitely explore. There are a lot of resources. When you do have students working, you will get a view here on all of the assignments that you have for your classes. You can see how many students have completed it and how many have not completed it. And then depending on their progress, you can also click on this to then get reports on how they completed, what score they got on their assignment, what they got on their leveled reading versus their vocabulary builder, what the score was on their quiz, and you have all of this data that you can use to then add to the grade book for later. You can also copy this assignment link and add that to your Schoology page. So that is a quick, fast way for students to get to this unit. But students will also see it when they log into their dashboard. It will look very similar to your dashboard, where they will have their assignment here and their classes here. So the student view and the teacher view are very similar. Students will get notifications here to kind of clue that they need to join an assignment and complete an assignment. And students can be in multiple Brainpop courses. So if they go to a specialist teacher who uses Brainpop, they will just click on enter code and enter that code to have that course. So in this way, the teacher view and the student view are very similar. Students, when they log in, they'll go to brainpop.com and then select login, I'm a kid, and proceed by logging in with their school Google account. Once they're logged in, if they have any courses, that will show up in their dashboard. So if they, like I mentioned, if they have a specialist class or if they're a middle school student who see multiple teachers throughout the day, they'll see their different classes listed here. And then if they do need to join a new class, then they'll come up to their dashboard and they will type the class code that was provided to them. So this one is that MESA code. I'm going to copy it real quick and then go back here. And when it asks me to enter a code, so right here where it says enter code, I'm going to paste that code, and now I will be added to that new course, and I'll have multiple courses on my student course dashboard. So here are all of my classes, and then I'm a student who is in multiple Brainpop classes, and I can click on the teacher's name to get to my assignments. Now that my teacher has enabled the assignment, you'll notice I have a new assignment listed here now, and so it is flagged, as well as the notification in my notifications bar up here. If I click on it, it'll show me that I have a new assignment here, and I can click directly there to be taken to this same assignment page. Or if I'm in my dashboard, then I can also just click on my assignment directly from my dashboard, and it will show me in my to-do list that I have one assignment to do. On my student view, you can see I have all of the components that my teacher assigned to me, and when I click on go, it will take me to that particular activity. So this would be the vocabulary builder. This one involves doing some kind of like flashcards that align to the activity, and then I have a check for understanding for whatever that vocabulary term is, and it will give me feedback like, okay, that might not be correct, like try it in this way, how is it used in this sentence? And so I can check my answer and it will give me feedback until I do get it correct. So I love this for students because it does give them an opportunity to learn from their mistakes and to learn from the activity. If I click here, we mentioned that there's leveled reading. So this would be what the leveled reading passage looks like. It pulls up as a reading passage on the left with questions that align directly to the passage on the right. And it's a similar strategy where students can check their answer. And then they do have their quiz and their movie assigned to them as well. So again, it's kind of like a big unit. There's multiple pieces. It's not just the movie, but there's those other pieces to check for understanding and to give students their immediate feedback. So as a teacher, I'll be able to see how far my students got with this package. I'll be able to check their progress on each of these different assignment types, and then I can take a grade for different pieces depending on if I want to take that for a grade or if I just want it to be practice. So lots of resources, lots of different ways for students to really extend their knowledge beyond just the traditional cartoon. I encourage you to check out Brainpop and all the resources, especially the student resources. In addition to the quizzes and the vocabulary, there are more advanced features like making a map, like a mind map. Students can make their own Brainpop videos connected to a topic. So that relates more to the higher level EdTech standards, but also higher levels of Bloom's where students are having to evaluate information and synthesize their learning to create a video. So definitely higher level. This is a great resource for not only for teachers, but also for students to be applying their learning in new ways. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm happy to support you on your Brainpop journey.